uptown girl. She's been living in an uptown world. I bet she's never had a backstreet guy. I bet her mama never told her why. I'm gonna try for an uptown girl. She's been living in her white wig world as long as anyone with hot blood can. And now she's looking for a downtown man. That's what I am. Oh, 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 oh. She's an uptown girl. 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 All right, guys, that is my best shot at the Piano Man, Billy Joel. Once again, you know he's one of my favorites, so I keep going back and forth to him. Can't do the man justice, but I could certainly attempt the songs. You guys are very good about putting up with that because you know this is a Silver 5150 staple. The song is a staple. If you don't like it, just fast forward a minute and a half and you can go right to the content. But for a time in memoriam, we're going to be doing the song at the beginning of the show. All right, guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Silver 5150 on the Silver 5150 channel. We are out here today with a hodgepodge of ingredients. We've got the U.S. dollar in actual dollars, all right, $1 denomination. The Federal Reserve notes is what they actually are. But strangely enough, they still say on the back, "In God we trust." But does the Fed really? Does the Fed really trust in God? Because God loves fair weights and measures. And I don't see a scale anywhere on these. So we will see. All right. Who do we got today? We've got generic rounds from Gainesville Coins, and these are basically trade units. Silver trade units, generic rounds. They come with the Barber Design, Morgan front on it. And then on the back they have the scales for generic silver trade units. And then, of course, the U.S. Assay Office's own version of the silver trade unit does not have a scale on the back, but does have an eagle on the back. And probably could be argued as the first American silver eagle because it is 31.1 grams. It does have a silver eagle on the back of it. And on the front, it has, of course, the U.S. Assay Office emblem logo and stuff before American silver eagles became available here in the new era back in 1986. And this right here is a very, very well done trade unit. This is an international trade unit. Let's see if we can figure out who the mint is. I don't see them. It just has a bunch of insignias and stuff on it. Just says a World Trade Unit, and it's from some anonymous mint. But we'll work with that anyway. And I think it's going to do it. Well, Monix, let's see. Is there a Monix? Nope, there's no Monix trade units. I do have some of those. You guys have seen them in the earlier videos. Anyway, the important thing is we get back to our segment yesterday. We were talking about the dollar psychology. The dollar psychology out there. And the dollar psychology is basically the dynamics that create the dollar personalities out there, the dollar believers, the true believers, the strong believers, the dollar users, people that use dollars as a tool, and then the dollar, hoarders, and the ones that just kind of waste their dollars. So let's go back through the categories we talked about yesterday. Different mindsets for dollar mindset are the hold on for dear lifers, the hodlers. These are the best savers. They're the best shoppers. They are the best negotiators. They can save as much money as they need to, and actually save a lot more than they need to, but they'd rather be safe than sorry. And I get it. I get it. These people I keep in my life because sometimes I go overboard and I need their help bailing me out. They know who they are. All right, next you got the hot potato. Gotta converts. Okay, we get these dollars in our hands and we got to convert them immediately to precious metals. That would be me and some other chronic stackers out there. Some people call us silver pumpers, but I'm not a silver pumper. I'm a precious metals enthusiast for sure. And I recommend that everyone try to get in on the action so that we in the secret silver society, as Fred Gar covered in a great video yesterday, actually become the mainstream. That is the whole point. Then the third category is going to be the instant gratification spenders. These are the people that get the dollars, they can get the dollars, and they immediately spend it on something they probably don't need or extra stuff they already have just to feel the thrill of being able to extinguish those dollars, but not in the most responsible way. But they do get a lot of gratification out of it, so we're not going to knock them for that. Final category is the can't get 'ems. Can't get 'ems are the people that, for whatever reason, have a hard time earning fiat cash, and they can't, get it, be it because they're not in an employment situation, they're not in the system very well, they're not able to take advantage of all the government programs, but some of them can take advantage of the government programs because of their income level, and so they should probably do that. Had a lot of sun coming here today. I'm back here in the Sequoia, and I don't generally have this much sun coming in, but that's all right. That's right. We're going to work with it. We're going to leave the sun in there because it's going to be a bright, sunny day when our fair weights and measures silver starts to become the premier currency over this stuff, which I don't hate. Okay, the dollar works very well, but believe it or not, the dollar used to work extremely well, the paper dollar, because at one time you had the paper dollar and the Morgan dollar, okay, competing against one another, and I think that was probably in the late 19 teens. Right, and over time, the dollar started heading downwards in purchasing power, and this silver dollar started heading up. And it wasn't even a full ounce, by the way. It was like 0.734 ounces, and became 31.1 ounces later on when they decided to actually make the American Silver Eagle. But until then, it was like the Franklins and the Barber Design Morgans, and I believe the Kennedys were the silver dollars. But those silver dollars, even back earlier on, could purchase 7 gallons of gas versus today, when the paper dollar can only purchase you about a third of a gallon of gas. So, started out the same, and then silver dollar just took off. Now, of course, it costs more to purchase because inflation works both ways. It works for purchasing and it works for getting it. Okay, purchasing things and for purchasing it. It has that inflation attached to it. All right, let's back up a little bit. So, dollar psychology says that the dollar still has a good deal of strength because people have confidence in it. And they do. I have confidence in a dollar to a degree. I mean, I watch it like a hawk to make sure that it's not going to get me cleaned out. But I do like using dollars, and I like using dollars mostly to convert into silver dollars or silver ounces. All right? But I still like using a dollar. Okay, but got to be careful because the dollar, it's not very solvent. We talked about solvency. Solvency is something's ability to maintain value and to maintain relevancy. All right. So in this respect, the dollar is very much like a demigod. Okay. Let's just use an example. A demigod, where its power is derived from people's belief. The more people have faith in it, the longer it can survive. All right, if it was, like say for instance, if the dollar was in the ancient temple, executive bankers would be the priests holding rituals and building these huge pyres. You have like those flame pyres that build up logs and stuff. Well, the pyres, the temple, would be the banks, and then the pyres, of course, would be the talking of fixing the global economy by doling out stimulus. That would be the huge fires. Hey, look over here! Look at this huge fire we're raising. To praise our demigod here. And that you need to believe for that reason because it's going to fix everything. It's going to fix everything. And of course, the bankers are the priests in that. Another thing is that the purchasing power of the dollar is still pretty good, but again, it's nothing like it used to be. Remember that it was competing at one point with the Morgan in the United States, and at some point the Morgan just left it behind, and now it has probably, I'd say 5% of the purchasing power of, say, its silver equivalent. Okay, so I don't know. It's really weird because you got to purchase and you can purchase as much with it. So we got to get to a point to where the silver dollar actually purchases a lot more than it does right now, but the dollar still remains the same. And we're going to see those days. Okay. What a lot of people don't realize is that the dollar is actually an indicator to how prosperous most of the world is. And let me make sure I don't mess this up. All right. Think about all the stuff we have. Think about all the stuff you have. If you're someone who has a lot of stuff, how much of the stuff is things you actually need? Have you ever gone through like your shed or through your closet and go, man, I haven't worn that sweater in 20 years. Man, I didn't know I had another lawnmower. Holy cow, what are all these magazines? How many subscriptions do I have anyway? People have a lot of stuff, and I honestly don't think that we would have a show on National Geographic called Hoarders Buried Alive if we've been using sound money up to this point. If we've been using gold and silver up to this point, because it's finite and you actually have to work hard to get it, well, you don't now. We'll talk about that in a minute. if you had to work only for gold and silver back in the day, I doubt very much if we'd have as much expansion as we've had in industry and in the production of things, and even in the birth model. I don't think there'd be nearly many as people born if it wasn't for the fiat currency system and the credit system, allowing people to be more confident, be more prosperous, that there's more actual money than there really is. This dollar here is just like, the derivatives and the contracts in the SLV or the COMEX market that creates more physical silver as far as we know, even though it's only paper facsimiles of. Well, this dollar is, and credit are just facsimiles of the real money out there, the real gold and silver that's out there that we have in our case in Fort Knox, and then some other places, and then other governments have, M1 currency. I call gold and silver M1 currency, in their vaults too. But these are the facsimiles. These are the notes. These are the Federal Reserve notes that say you have a claim to use some of that stuff that's in a sovereign nation's vault, but you really don't. You just basically have their permission to pretend that you own some and just go ahead and buy your stuff and just look the other way and shut your mouth. All right, but it's still, we have these dollars. We have this currency out here. It's the pesos, rubles, rupees, yen, yuan, euros, all those things out there, all these currencies out there that allow us to purchase, pretty much anything we want. And that, of course, drives demand, and then demand picks up and stuff. And as a result, prosperity looks greater and the population picks up and stuff. Here's what scares me about that is how easily the reverse could happen. Once we start to see, remember that inverse pyramid I showed you, Exter's pyramid? It has, the outline for what would happen once these things start shrinking, credit and cash and, electronic bank money. As, Jerome Powell says, we electronically print it. Once these things start to fall away because there's either just too much of it, people don't believe in it, or, it's not accepted by anybody, then that's going to cause shrinkage everywhere, not just in the amount of stuff you have, because you're probably going to sell some to get some more dollars or to get some more currency in your hand. But it's also going to... It's also just going to shrink the general way we live. Without that, now you're going to be ending up going back to the most solvent, the most liquid assets, and it's going to be gold and silver. Those who have it will be able to continue functioning in a world where paper and credit have burned or evaporated away. You can still function, live normally, and probably live prosperously and thrive in a time when everybody else's valued savings, pensions, all that stuff has gone away with paper currencies. All right. So, again, look at your lifestyle. Do you have more shoes than you can wear? More magazine subscriptions than you could ever read? More gym memberships than you can ever use? More cars than you could ever drive? My point is that the dollars are getting more easy to acquire, all right? And if you're a hodler or a chronic shopper, either dollars or stuff are going to start piling up fast. I've got some friends where the dollars are piling up fast, and they're looking at a way to actually move these around. We know the solution to it, but if you're not tuned into this world, then you're going to be stuck in that mindset. But we as stackers ask, what if there was a way to freeze your extra income? All right? Freeze your extra income in time and space. Sounds like the Twilight Zone. What if there was a way to freeze your extra income in time and space, unaffected by the ravages of price increases or inflation or currency resets? Yeah, Rod Serling there. But yeah, what if there was a way to freeze your extra income in time and space, unaffected by the ravages of price increases, which are inflation? Yeah, price increases, that's inflation. Or currency resets, which is basically when the government changes its bills, units, or value, or their denomination, without you knowing about it. What if you could actually freeze your money by shopping? Okay? You guys know where I'm going with this. You stackers do. My point is that stacking precious metals is something that's almost accessible to anyone. It allows a person to instantly transform intrinsically worthless currencies of all kinds. The pesos, the rubles, the rubies, all those, you know what I'm talking about, the euros. Transform all these intrinsically worthless currencies, okay, into super money. Okay? Super money. Super dollars that fairly value your effort, your talents, your labor, okay? And allows you to lock that energy away and hoard it and store it until you decide to release it. See, that's the thing. Dollars aren't bad. They're just bad if they remain dollars. You got to transform them into something else. Okay? dollars are actually good because they give us the opportunity to purchase real money. And for, honestly, 16 cents it takes for them to produce a $1 bill from the Fed or the Treasury, 16 cents to produce a $1 bill or a $100 bill. Think about that. You can earn these dollars fairly easily. It all depends on how willingly you are to extend yourself. All right. But you can get plenty of these, and right now you can still convert to these for very little money. You can actually, go one step lower with copper. I was talking to a subscriber today that talks about how to buy copper from scrap yards and then melt it down and make it something even purer and bullion grade, which is probably the cheapest way to go. But for those of you that just want to shop online and grab yourself some silver, you can grab an ounce of silver once a month, maybe twice a month, even at the lowest income levels. All right. So that's basically what I'm asking you. Look at the dollar not as, something that's going to wreck society at some point, and at some point it's going to go down. It's going to take society with it. But for now, it is a very useful tool. It is a very useful tool to help you get the things you need, not just precious metals, but get the things you need. Foods, long-term foods. I'm going to start to sound like a prepper here. But security. Get your firearms if you have those for security. Get yourself a nice dog. That you would like and love and have in your home that could take somebody's head off. With one bite. But work on these things that you think you will need in a time when the dollar collapses and there's going to be a transition from these to these. Of course, like I said, food and water and shelter. Make sure you have that. Make sure you have all the things you need. Make sure your bills are paid. Make sure that your credit, if not gone, that the credit or the debt you have, if not resolved, is in check. That's what I do. I keep my credit in check. I'm going to go ahead and take a departure here. Recently here, guys, and I told you I was going to tell you this is a pretty scary story. Well, first of all, let me put it this way. I always experiment with taking losses. And I know that sounds ridiculous and senseless on its face, but after a while, I got bored with having success all the time. And I'm not trying to brag that, somehow I'm successful. You guys know me. I'm a kid from the streets of New York. I didn't really have a chance in hell of making it. I was in a drug scene. I should have fell away, fallen through the cracks, and never been heard from again. But God had a different plan for me. So he put me in the military. That saved my life. And then from there, I began to just build. With him behind me, there was really not much I could fail at. So later on, I decided to go ahead and see how much I could take on and recover from. So I started experimenting with taking losses. And I know that sounds corny, but just bear with me. I would use it as a stress test to see how easily I could recover, see how easily I could leverage myself, pool my resources and my talents to get back on track. And I've just become better and better at it. Now, here's the good part. Taking these losses, I would generally have them manifest as something that I had some control over. So, like, I would give expensive gifts at random, okay? I wouldn't haggle with a lot of vendors over, some high ticket or high dollar value item. Okay, I would purchase here recently way too much silver on credit just to see if I could dig my way out and stay out of trouble. And guys, I told you how close that got. The sitting in the Jack in the Box parking lot without enough money to buy the 2 taco special for 99 cents. That's low. That's pretty low. And then there was one time, of course, I starved for 4 days, but I was a teenager. I didn't know any better. Never happened again. But I would continue experimenting with these things here in recent years. And time again, okay, I would be able to climb out of it. But it wasn't just entirely to my efforts. It was also because of the ease of accessibility to currency. If you're willing to work and put forth the effort and you lower your pride, you don't put anything beneath you, I'm telling you, dude, sewer work, contracting, roofing, washing dishes and, anything that I could think of to earn money. Even right now, I'm going back to doing janitorial after 35 years and then 5 years of saying I'm never going to do it again. But the trick is to get as much of the currency as you can and transform it into this. And so I would actually see how much I can earn. And once I realized how easy it was to earn some stuff, since I'm healthy and able to do it, not everybody's able to do that, I started seeing what I could take for losses. So now I know how far I can extend myself and lose and still recover from it, God willing, that my health holds up. So that's something I've experimented with, but you don't have to go to that extreme. If you are of the mind that you should always stand up for yourself and look out for yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. But have a little fun, experiment and do something completely out of character. And set yourself up to take an intentional hit, a big one or a smaller one, whatever size you're comfortable with, and see how you recover from it. My point is that at some point we're going to have an event happen that's going to take your choice out of the game. You're going to take a loss. But the question is how do you recover from it? How do you react? What is going to be your attitude? What is going to be your ability to bounce back? You need to test those limits. You don't have to get crazy. If you want to send Silver 5150 a check for $1 million in the hopes that it won't bounce, I guarantee you I will spend it before it bounces. But you don't have to do anything that extreme. All right? But you basically have to get to the point where you understand how favorable the current dollar system is. You don't have to be afraid of it. You don't have to be afraid of your cash, your money. Your dollar is in a system that is extremely favorable to spenders, but is hostile to savers. All right? But what if there was a way to have a foot in both ponds? Okay? My point is, precious metals allows you to project the image of a spender, which the bankers love, all right, but to hide it in savings as precious metals, and you have fun shopping for it, okay? Using their fiat cash, which is worth almost nothing. And you get plenty of this, you shop for it, you become a good shopper. There's so many products out there. Even if you want to get into jewelry, you can go that route. But, first of all, experiment with taking a loss, see if you can recover from that. Look at your assets and see if you have everything under control. And then if you have extra cash laying around and you're not sure about precious metals, or you're in it a little bit, or you're thinking that you'd be better off with the cash, just, split the amount in half and just kind of dabble and experiment a little bit and see, what you can get away with. If it doesn't work out, you can always sell the precious metals back. You may sell at a little bit of a loss, but trust me, if this is your mindset that you want to try to revalue your dollars into something bigger and better, into super money, then trust me, you'll recover. You'll recover from it. All right? But one of the things I would recommend is that if you decide to go this route to where you're going to start converting cash into precious metals, the way you get the cash is that you buy no more extra anything. No more extra magazine subscriptions, no more extra cars, no more extra clothes and stuff you don't need. If you want to keep up with the Joneses, you want to look nice, that's going to be your choice. But with the way things are headed, you're much better suited, or you're much better served by starting to transform your excess fiat capital into hard money, into silver in particular, gold if you can swing it, and copper if you can't swing it. All right, but just something hard that has, a weight and a measure and, a certain value attached to it. All right. So again, like no extra anything. You just want to stick to your essentials if you're going to start to go this route, turn this extra fiat cash into hard money. Do your living needs, any preps you can think of. All right. And all else will go into your savings, and just a little bit of this, because even I keep a little bit of that. All right. That's just to remain reasonable. All right, so I think I've kind of made my point. The dollar psychology, there's different types of psychology for the dollar, but you don't have to be afraid of your cash if you have it. You should be concerned if you don't have it, and you should work on ways to try to get it. The same people that can tell you about stacking precious metals, in our group, we can tell you how to go out and get cash if you're physically able and willing to do it. All right, but trust me, all of us that are stacking, we have dirt on our hands and dirt under our fingernails, because we have dug deep to work and get it and earn it and transform this intrinsically worthless currency into the premier hard currency that's going to make all the difference here when we start to get into the economic resets and stuff. All right, guys, thank you very much for listening. And I'm always telling you, Silver 5150, I'm always telling you that your stack is not whack, and that just 5 ounces to your name, got too excited, puts you 99% ahead of the game. I mean that, guys. I mean that. Just 5 ounces. 5 ounces. Did we get that? We didn't flip the camera, did we? 5 ounces to your name puts you 99% ahead of the game. All right? So we'll see you tomorrow morning for the morning update. All right? But until then, I'd like you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and have a great, great night. Think about what I said. Don't be afraid of your cash. If there's something you want to buy it, especially if you need it. But if you can't think of anything to buy, start learning to shop for precious metals and just trap and freeze and inoculate the money in that form until you're ready to use it. It will be impervious to harm from that point. All right? Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening, and take care.